Let's look at another couple of ways my life is a bit different now that I live here in Amman in Jordan. Let's talk about toilets. Toilets, you do not flush the toilet paper. Just like other countries that have underdeveloped sewage systems, there is a rubbish bin beside the toilet. You do not flush the paper, you put the paper into the rubbish bin. The other thing that you do here in Jordan, I've always done, and I've only been coming here for 6 years, is keep tissues in your handbag. Regardless of where you are, you always will need a tissue if you need to go to a bathroom, because public toilets will not have tissue paper. There is often an attendant who will give you some toilet paper. You do not have to pay for toilet paper here in Jordan. It's actually just really important about bathrooms in general. Try and go to a bathroom that is mostly used by Western people and not a local squat toilet. That's a bit of a challenge, especially if your knees won't tolerate. Let's look at something else that's a little bit different for me now that I live here in Amman in Jordan. My apartment that I purchased does not have any outside space, no veranda, no deck, nothing like that. So when it comes to doing my laundry, I have to dry my laundry inside the house. Now there's a couple of windows that have direct sunlight and the rooms get really quite warm, especially at the back end of the day. But if I wanted to do something like the coverings of the sofa or my bed linen, etc., it's really quite big. So how do I deal with drying that? I can put that out in the car park area because it's just material, but I cannot put my clothes area out into the public space with my intimate wear, my underwear, my clothes on it, because that is just socially unacceptable. Another way that my life is a little bit different here in Amman in Jordan is that there is the call to prayer 5 times a day. And I'm going to get them wrong, but they are Fajr, Zahar, Asar, Maghrib and Isha. That is dawn, just after midday, middle of the afternoon, early evening, and a nighttime prayer. So when you're out and about, it's not uncommon that you have to wait for the attendants or the servers or for people to be ready and available to tend you while you're out in the public, because people are praying when it is their turn to pray, time to pray. My life a little bit different now that I live here in Amman in Jordan. Well, one of the things that I've always done when I'm traveling is I try and spend my money in mum and pop shops. But when it comes to Amman in Jordan, you don't actually have mum and pops, it's more like pops shops, because mums don't necessarily work here. So what I try and do, especially every time that I'm out on my walk of an evening, I will try, if I'm going to buy something, is go to a different little shop, a little supermarket, anywhere in the neighborhood, to buy something, anywhere between 1.5 and about 4 JD. So that's about $3 to about $8, so that I can distribute my money around all of the different shops. I try not to go to the major supermarkets unless it's for a big shop that a small shop wouldn't be able to assist me with. But yeah, I try to distribute my money, my tourist money, all over the entire city by spending a little bit of money here. Another thing that's a little bit different for me here in Jordan is you can't really take a backpack into a major shop or shopping centre. So what you will do is, like if you're going to the supermarket, like Safeways, you will have to get your backpack, your empty backpack, because you're about to walk home with the groceries, and put it to security. And then once you've finished your shopping, you go to security, pick up your backpack and then pack it up so you can walk home. That's no problem. But if you have done some purchasing of items, you don't take that bag from another shop into the next store. You go to security, you check it in, you get a token, and then you can walk around the shop and do your next lot of shopping. So I guess that's just a general security thing. I have fallen foul a couple of times, and the security have just called me, so I've just backtracked and put my bag into the security. So it's no big deal. Just make sure you take your wallet and your phone out with you so that you can carry it around to do the rest of your shopping. Another thing that's a little bit different for me now that I live here in Amman in Jordan, I have to make sure that I am legal and I'm here with a valid visa, and I can do that every few months by going to the local police station, starting a form, going to a central police station and getting my biometrics done, and then going back to my closest police station to my residence for them to finish the documentation, and then they have a paperwork, the solid paperwork, all on the back wall of their office for all of the people that live in the suburb that I live in, and so that my visa is valid. And of course they stamp my passport with the next date that I am due to leave or have my visa renewed. And it costs approximately 40 JD per month, depending. That's another thing that's a little bit different for me while I'm here in Amman. Another thing that's a little bit different living here in Amman in Jordan is you have a public rubbish bin, a hawia. So what you do is, for me, I put out my rubbish bin and the guard takes it to the public rubbish bin. But if you have leftover food, leftover bread, what you can do is there's a hook on the side of the hawia, the bin, where the machine picks it up and puts it into the truck. And what you can do is you can hang your unused food there on the public rubbish bin, and that if people need extra food or want extra food, there is food there for them. I have seen it with the bread, I've seen it with salad and sauces, etc. And there's a lot of dumpster diving here with a lot of people taking recycling stuff, which is absolutely fine. But that is one thing that's a little bit different here in Jordan to when I'm living in Australia. One thing that I try and do while I'm here in Amman in Jordan is when I'm out for my walk, and if I want to have a drink or an ice cream or something like that, because it is the middle of summer, I will try and go to a mum and pop shop. So not always it's a mum and pop shop here, because it's usually just pop working in the shop. So what I try and do is I spend between 1.5 and maybe 4 JD, and at different times I have even just gone in and just bought some bread to put it in my freezer. Other times I have bought an exercise book, some colour pencils and a sharpener, which cost me about 1.5 JD. And then I had another time I got some pens, just some pens, and that was a couple of JD. And I'm just trying to patronize different shops. One thing that's a little different for me now that I live here in Amman in Jordan is my cost of electricity. I just received my electricity bill for my unit in Australia, and it was 70 Australian dollars for the month. And I have just received my electricity bill here for being here for 1 month, and that is 10 JD. So that is with Australian exchange rate, probably 22 Australian dollars. So for almost the same amount of usage, laptop, tablets, fridge, microwaves, washing machines, all of those normal, lighting, anything that uses electricity. Electricity costs here in Amman in Jordan are cheaper than my electricity costs in Australia.